First snowfall on Halloween. Look at that. Oh wow. Oh yes. Best time of the year.
Welcome everybody, my name is Michael and today is the first day of November. We're talking about SBF. He's in the news yet again, and he will be in the news for quite a while because the court case is drawing to a close ever steadily, but we are getting closer to there. So with that, let's get into FTX, and hopefully you're having a great day. Hopefully you celebrated Halloween safely and well. Thanks. Defense is going to start potentially deliberating on Sam Bankman-Fried's fate as soon as tomorrow, Thursday. Right now, defense have started their closing statements. This was a month-long trial. And with that, we are getting closer and closer to potentially seeing an outcome where SBF's probably going to jail for a long time. He has been turned into a villain and a monster, similar to a movie about a grand fraud scheme, his lawyer said on Wednesday. He insisted that, yes, mistakes were made, but they didn't commit any crimes. These were just accidents in a budding new startup that suddenly managed to have an $11 billion plot hole. Currently, we're at a state where SBF's defense team are putting their closing comments, and tomorrow, maybe Thursday, the day that jurors will start deliberating on SBF's fate, potentially putting him in prison for a very long time. A lot of people are saying SBF kind of sealed his fate with a lot of these media interviews. A lot of these comments had to be shown and talked about in the courtroom. And they did not reflect very well upon him, especially when he started making offensive comments over investors and clients of FTX. And especially since his whole strategy was essentially to blame others, blame the people working around him, blame the lawyers. What about these texts that were found on Signal or Slack? Well, I don't know. And certain responses just made him look more guilty to the jury. That's going to be a huge part that they're going to be looking at. Okay, was this company ethical? Yes, they've made some mistakes. Yes, defense is arguing that this was just a case of a startup growing way too quickly, that the media has vilified and turned SBF into an evil monster out there. But really, yes, in truth, he did make a lot of mistakes. As with any entrepreneur, as with any billion-dollar corporation, there will be some very big problems that were created, very huge ethical consequences. But the defense is arguing that there were no crimes committed. Were there crimes? Probably. It's looking like that, certainly, especially when a lot of people with decades of experience working with falling companies like FTX have peered inside, and they've been shocked with the state of disarray it was in. The government is claiming that this $11 billion hole, FTX fell into bankruptcy. The users could no longer withdraw their funds. It was a run on the crypto bank. The reason the money was missing is because Sam Bankman-Fried transferred this money to Alameda Research. It used it for risky trades that didn't pay off, debt repayments, personal loans, political donations, venture bets, various other random purposes such as, hey, let's use these private jets to fly Amazon packages to the Bahamas. Well, some of this money may have been misappropriated, but Sam Bankman-Fried recalls things a little bit differently. Essentially, he painted a picture that he's an overworked businessman. He was well-intentioned, but somewhere along the way, things went astray. And a lot of people took a look at this case, and they see why SBF went down this path, where the defense, for every single argument, every single incriminating aspect of the relationship between FTX and Alameda, the sharing of bank accounts, special trading privileges, multi-billion-dollar loans, the executives and employees who were doing really shady things, potentially illegal, using company funds for their own purchases. Well, there was a perfectly good, logical business explanation. Yes, mistakes were made, and this was because they were new. They didn't know how to run a company, and that is also true. this was probably the best route for them to take because their options were limited. They couldn't really choose from so many great options because the amount of cooperating witnesses and testimonies that were stacking up against FTX and Alameda and SBF from the top executives, such as Mr. Wang and Caroline Ellison, to even lower employees, it's a pretty big but risky bet that the defense is playing because at this point they've got nothing else to lose. The problem, though, is the first rule is don't speak, especially when there's this much media attention. Don't go talk to the media. When you get arrested, call your lawyers. Let the lawyers handle everything. Don't testify yourself. In this case, it seems like the aim was to present an alternative reality, an alternative narrative of events, which doesn't look so good. In order to appeal to the sympathies of the jury, it looks like they turned everything negative against them. So the judge in this case was upset many times. For example, look, could you just answer the question instead of trying to ask the questioner what she's referring to? And SBF responded, okay. Well, between the judge and witnesses, interactions like that, it could seem that SBF is trying to wrestle with the cross-examiner, which the jury can pick up on this. And we might find out a verdict as soon as tomorrow. I'm guessing it might take a little bit longer, but we shall see. The cross-examination is completed as of October 31st, and the prosecution's final dagger was a document from December, which Sam Bankman-Fried referred to himself, Caroline Ellison, and Gary Wang as the three co-conspirators. The prosecution said, you wrote that, Mr. Bankman-Fried, correct? Bankman-Fried said, I think so. Throughout the entire trial, it was, I don't know how that happened. I think, I believe, I'm not quite sure. No, but I may have. That's not quite how I put it. And it was a pattern of evasive answers, or I have no idea what's going on. In most of these instances, regarding the message logs, FTX documentation, interview excerpts, podcast appearances, media interviews, pretty much anything that was going on. In some cases, it may appear that the government is really focused on this and he's going to be the target. There's a target that was painted for everybody else in the crypto industry, and not just crypto, but fintech, that, hey, this is what will happen to you if your company goes down this path. But it doesn't look so well for FTX and SBF. Over 140 times, SBF said, I can't recall. Some prosecutors said to believe his story, you'd have to simply ignore the evidence. You'd have to believe the defendant, who graduated from MIT and built two multi-billion-dollar companies, was actually clueless, had no idea what was going on. It is certainly possible he was lying. He should have known the truth in many of these cases. And if everybody knew the truth, investors would have run as far as they could from FTX instead of pouring more money into it. There's a lot of messy accounting that SBF blamed. This is one story that I'm actually very excited for this to just wrap up. I'm curious how it'll result, and we'll see. With that, it is a nonviolent crime. So again, if he's facing 100 years, I mean, it'd be crazy for him to go for that long. But we saw in the cases of other Ponzi schemes at MLM and other scammers, white-collar crime, if you ever watched American Greed, a lot of these guys did get eventually 50-plus year sentences, except for Jordan Belfort, which he got a couple years. But with that, just wanted to congratulate you for coming to the end of the video. If you've made it past my rambling so far, just want to thank you. If you're new to the channel, I have created an AI channel, which hopefully in the future will be better. So if you can, give me a hand, subscribe on over there, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Have a good one.
Oh, yeah. Christmas is here. Look at that. Look at that. That is Halloween. I feel bad for the trick-or-treaters because it was perfect weather not too long ago. And look at that. Oh, man. Just, fantastic. I love it. Christmas is around the corner. Thanksgiving, Black Friday. But it's always like that, you know. The days right before Halloween are actually decent, and Halloween's not that great. But, oh, man. The the future, anybody that comes out in this weather to my house would get a bunch of candy. Hey, some candy at the store. Just not too many clients to give it out to, but oh man, look at that. That's awesome. All right, first snowfall of the season. And you have a bunch of ice. So when we were traveling yesterday on the highway, all this ice kind of formed on the front plate and you can't even see it anymore. This is so exciting. I love winter. I've been waiting for it for a while. Oh man. Look at that. That's a little tough. Oh boy. Happy Halloween, everybody. I love this thing. And we got a bunch of candy. Well, that's more for us, but candy. Yeah. Happy Halloween.